I'm CK. A while ago I did a little beginner theremin that only had a single copper mast for pitch control, and that was kind of fun. Now we've got an optical theremin from Synthrotek. I usually get Eurorack modules from Synthrotek, but this was on Amazon as a kit, and we'll give it a try and see how optical control of the pitch, and see if they also have a volume sensor, which the other one didn't. And we'll put it together and see how much fun it is to play with. And I hope you enjoy the video. So here's the package, Optical Theremin. So it's using, instead of using capacitance, it's using optical sensing to set pitch and, again, I hope volume. See what's in the bag. Instructions. Let me take a quick look at this. Resistors, capacitors, one IC, which is a 555 timer, a couple of pots, some switches, some jacks, a battery clip, and a couple of photoresistors, and 5 feet of wire. Wonder why we want 5 feet of wire. And a DC jack to power it with DC if we want. And that is that. Again, Synthrotek out of, where are they? They're in Washington State, aren't they? They're somewhere in the US. I'll figure that out at some point, or maybe not. Synthrotek, classical noise. We'll take a look at the circuit board first. So clearly they're using the 555 timer as an oscillator to create the tones we're going to use, and you can look up the 555 timer's use in that way. There are lots of resources showing you how 555s work, and they are very important chips. You probably have 10 of them within 10 feet of you right now. So we've got, where's my pointy thing? There's my pointy thing. Let's look at the board a little bit. Very tiny board, as you can see. We've got DC jack goes here, switch goes here, resistor, the 555 there, capacitor, 9-volt battery if you want that, more resistors, and I don't know where we would put the photoresistors, but figure that out. Here's a bunch of wire, 9-volt battery, clippy thing. I'm going to back off a little bit, sorry. Then a big old, this is a Marshall style stereo plug. That's kind of weird. And we've got a regular power supply plug, one pot, a switch, probably on off, and a jack, and some knobs. These are good knobs, look at that. Brass inserts, brass set screw, those are very good knobs. And in here I'm going to assume is the 555 timer and its associated socket. In here we've got the resistors, the two 104 decoupling caps, even though I don't know why we need two. The 555 doesn't need two decoupling caps. So C1 is going where it should go. Where's C2 going? C2 is going, okay. It's going the same place, basically. It's split a little bit. And there are two photoresistors in there. But again, I don't know where the photoresistors go. And maybe that's why he gave us so much wire, so you could position the photoresistors are at R1 and R3. So R1 and R3 take the photoresistors, but we don't want them like right on the board, because then one hand would cover both of them. So what I think this is designed to do, and again, this is all the information we have on it, and there's nothing on the back. So what I think what we want to do is we want to take the wire and put the photoresistors on the wire so we can position them farther apart from each other, so you can manipulate your hands differently for setting the 555 timer oscillation rate and the volume of the output. So that's the way that is. That's all the parts. Pretty simple, and it looks like it'll be a rapid and fun build to do. So I'll get the soldering iron heated up and we'll get this thing started. So before I get to actual assembly, I didn't want this one to just be a mass of wires as I've done before. So what I'm going to do is, I've got this little piece of spare plastic from some project or other I was doing. So what I'm going to do is, we're going to put the circuit board on the back, and probably around in the middle here. As you'll notice, this circuit board doesn't have any mounting holes, which is unfortunate, so I'm probably just going to hot glue it to the back, because I got a hot glue gun now and may as well use the heck out of it. So I'm going to put that on the back. I'm going to put this 9-volt battery box that I grabbed from some other project I did a while ago, and I'm going to put that on the back also. Then I'm going to drill holes for our 2 potentiometers, and for the output jack, and for the on-off switch. And there's the measurements. The jacks are 7/32, and the knobs are 1/4 inch holes that we'll need, and the switch is the same, 7/32. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And let's see, how did I cut this? Let's do it in millimeters. So this is about, it's not about, this is 70 millimeters. Well, it's actually like 68 millimeters. So I'm going to put one knob. Oh, and I'm also going to have 2 holes to feed the wires out, holding the photoresistors, which we're going to actually, and I'm not sure about how I'm going to configure that right yet. So since that's about 70 millimeters, so that's 35, and since it's 68, I'll go to 34 millimeters right there, and we'll see if this is the same. Surprisingly enough, it's reasonably the same. So we'll mark that one. Now I don't have the width set in yet. I'm going to put my little floating T-square here and run a line across where, oops. Now we'll see where we want to put them. What do you think? You want to put them about 25 millimeters in from the edge? Sure, that sounds good, doesn't it? There's plastic film on top of this plastic, so I'm not permanently marking it. So we'll go 25 on that knob also. So now we know where to drill those holes. Then let's see, so that would be that and that. Again, circuit board's in the middle, so I think I'll put the switch like here. We'll try and do that roughly in the middle. So that would be 150 to there. 150 plus 10, so it's 160. So this is so 160 divided by 2 is 80. Some math I can do. So put that there, and I don't know, the measurements for this is not too important. We'll say it's 15 millimeters in. So that's where we'll make that hole for the switch. Then the jack, I think this is cracked. It's okay. The jack, let's put the jack by, we'll put the jack, output jack by the switch. And I'm not going to measure that particularly closely. Just put it there. And then the two holes for the photoresistors, I think I'm going to go, actually this location is real good for one of them, and that is 10 millimeters in and 15 millimeters up. So 10 millimeters in and 15 millimeters up. I got that almost perfect. So that's what the holes will be drilling on right now. So I'll move over to the drill press and we'll get these done. And that's the holes we wanted drilled. 2 knobs, jack, switch, wire, wire. So there's the panel again, and also off camera I cut up just a little piece of scrap wood to make some feet. Not very good, but I don't care. I'm just going to keep things raised up. I'm not too worried about the aesthetics of this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the minimal electronic components on the board. And again, it's a 555 timer, and if you look it up, you see that when you make an oscillator out of it, you will be using resistors and a capacitor to set the frequency of the oscillation. So that's going to be what one of these photoresistors is for. Maybe both of them. I have to look more closely at the board in a little bit. So we've got one fixed resistor, one 1 meg resistor at R2, which is right here. And the holes aren't quite lined up the way I would like them. The resistor is a little too big for it, but that's okay. Now we'll do the 2 ceramic caps, the 104s at C1 and C2, which is right here and right here, which are going to, where's my 555 diagram? I know I have it somewhere. I'll find it. But there are a lot of resources online to show you how to use 555 timer, as a flip-flop, as oscillator. It's a very versatile chip, and if you look at some of the information online, you'll see one thing that says, oh, it's called a 555 because it's got 5 ohm resistors in it or something like that. You'll also, if you look far enough, and I'm putting the socket for the 555 on right now, if you look a little further, you'll find the original designer of the 555 saying, no, it had nothing to do with the resistors we used. It was simply the next marketing part number that we were going to use. So what sounds like an interesting origin story turns out to be a fake. Just something that sounded good to someone. Solder up all these connections that I just put on. Double checking the soldering on this resistor. Yeah, that's fine. Now the rest of the componentry does not go on the circuit board, which is why they gave us all this wire. But all this wire is black, and that's not going to help me wire things up, because I will get confused if all I use is black. So I'm going to take my little box of 22 stranded wire and use that. This is stranded, isn't it? Yeah, it's stranded. And use that, even though I may want to go, these holes are awful small, I may want to go with 24. I think I'll go with 24. I'll go with 24 instead, because the holes are so small. 24 gauge, that is. So first, because I'm going to be using this battery box, I can't, the lead, I cut this off another older project, and I don't think I can make the leads go, well, maybe I can. Because what I'm going to be doing here, again, as I said, going to be putting the board kind of like that, and then the battery box next to it. Trying to figure out the best way to do this. I didn't. If I put it this way, no, I can put it this way, and those wires won't quite reach. So I'm going to add some extensions to these wires. Come on, guys. Participate in the whole soldering experience, will you? I will admit, soldering two pieces of wire together, splicing two pieces of wire, can be the most challenging thing I do all day. Put my shrink on. Heat that one up. Good enough. And put this bigger piece of shrink around both of them. And that's almost too, even this 24 gauge wire is almost too thick for these holes. It's not. .26 might be better, but I'm not going to go grab more to generate some whiskers, but I'm going to leave them alone. They're not grounding against each other, so not worried about that. So that's that one. Then we're going to do wires for our potentiometer and the photodiodes. Photoresistors. What do you mean photodiodes? Photoresistors. So let's see, we've got about, if we're putting this about there, and we're going to these holes for the photodiodes, resistors. So about that much wire plus whatever they already have. So I'll just need just a little bit. It's probably too much. So this is what I'm going to be doing for a little bit, so I may just speed up the playback so you don't have to see me prepping each particular wire. Because it's going to be a lot of them. So enjoy fast playback. Got all the wires on, and I do want to point out that except for the power, the colors have no significance. I just use them so it wasn't all black when I was trying to hook stuff up. So we've done all the connections except for the DC power jack, because we're not going to use that since we're using the battery. So let's see what we're doing next. We'll put the switch on, because that's easy. I'm going to just solder everything on to the ends of the wire, and then I'll place them through here, through the plastic panel I made, or I adapted at a later point. Where's my pointy thing? I don't know. I think it's over on my other workbench. And I know I probably will come up with a piece of wire that's too short or something, but I'll deal with that when I do. I'm doing this very, as you saw, I did not do a lot of planning. I didn't do any drawings of this, so it's all kind of off the cuff. But I'm sure it will work out. Now we'll do the output jack. We're just going to verify which side of this is hot and which side of this is cold. So we'll go into continuity mode on the meter. And why am I not hearing anything? So that's the sleeve, and that's the tip. I'm going to mark that just because my memory goes away very quickly. And once I disconnect the meter leads, I will forget which one is which, because I know myself. Now, take that back off, and go to the output, and they use this, the T symbol, which I'm not as familiar with as the ground symbol for this. And I'm going to put this wire through this way. Let it hang in the air. Use this remaining, am I in frame? Yeah, I guess I am. Use this remaining piece of solder. When you use as much solder as I do, you use every bit. Now, which one did I mark? I marked this one. See, I had already forgotten, which is why I marked it. Oops. Now again, for excuse me, again, for a mono project like this, polarity on the speaker doesn't much matter. You're not going to have any phase issues, but just for completeness' sake, we'll do it the right way. So that's those things. And let me just do a, just because who knows, because I didn't measure. These going to fit. I have enough wire for them. That'll fit. And that'll fit. Yeah, good. Now we'll do the pots. And their R5 is the 1 megohm linear. Again, these are linear taper, these are not audio taper. So we will, where's R5? And of course this is not polarized, it doesn't matter which way. Doesn't matter which way you put these leads on. Hold it like that for a second and grab
grab the locking tweezers, which I just had in my hand and I already lost. I'll hold that wire in place, and I will get a new piece of solder. The middle pin, the wiper pin, and the 1K comes at R4. Let's just show it to you live so you can see. So if we connect, let me move this over a little bit. Connect one side to the left-hand pin, the other side to the middle pin, and it's in continuity mode. Be out of continuity mode. Middle and left, so right now it's at 3 ohm because it's all the way counterclockwise. As I turn it up, you can see it goes its full range up to 1K ohm. And that is, I'm sorry, I confused myself again, that's R4. So R4 is this. I messed up. Even though I used different color wires, I didn't use enough different colors, so I confused myself, or I wasn't paying attention, so I didn't get this one right. So we'll pull that back off, and you go over there, and it's this black wire on R5. Some of you probably noticed that, and were saying, dude, you got it wrong. But easy enough to fix. And again, doesn't make a lick of difference which side you connect to which side. Resistors don't care, even variable resistors. Now the next thing will be the photodiodes, photoresistors. Quit saying photodiodes. I'm not going to do those yet. I'm going to mount all this on my little panel now, and then I'll see how we want to do the wires for the photoresistors. This is a Gorilla hot glue gun. I'm not endorsing them, I'm just telling you which one I'm using if you're interested. I don't like Gorilla Glue very much, but I do find the glue that comes in a bottle, but I do find their heat gun, their hot glue gun, to be pretty much okay. So let's see what we're doing here. We're going to take, this will end up here. Okay, so yeah, I am going to need longer wire for the photodiodes, photoresistors, at least on this side. Maybe, yeah, I will on this one. I'm going to go ahead and change these right now. Just bear with me as I put 2 longer wires in here. Okay, let's try that again. I'm going to take the retaining nuts off the switch and the jack. Bring the panel back in, which is the nastier side. This is the smoother side. So put the jack in this hole. the switch in this hole. Just finger tight for right now. Now we're going to do the two pots, and I don't care which one goes on which side, so we'll just do the way it fits best. I'm going to put a little painter's tape on there. Fit the battery box, which should be able to go under here just perfectly like that. Now it's time for a little hot gluing. And that's where we're at. And I just got feedback, internal feedback from the facility here that looks very good for a 5-year-old with a glue gun. So obviously that's high praise to the quality of my manic assembly. Now we're gonna put the photodiodes on now, and I want to give them enough space. I gotta put my visor on or else I can't put this shrink wrap over the wires. Let me double check this. I need to insulate the leads going to the photoresistors, because I'm gonna use all of them if I can, as much of them as I can. So I'll just get some shrink wrap ready. To slide up once I'm done. And what is kicking all around here? Okay, so there we go. That's that part. Soldering iron can go off. Now we'll put the knobs on. Turn them all the way counterclockwise. Yeah, they don't match, but again, I'm being very haphazard on the mechanical assembly here since we didn't have an actual case or anything like that, so I'm just doing it quickly. I'm going to bring my audio cart over so I can get some sound out of this. Now let me go get a 9-volt battery from my rechargeable 9-volt batteries. Switch may be on, switch may be off, I don't know. Now we gotta just get this battery under here, or actually I'll go under here and over there. Okay, so we're plugged in. I'm not hearing anything yet. Let me turn it on. Turn these up. Oh, ha! First thing you gotta do, ladies and gentlemen, is you gotta put the 555 timer in, or else it's not gonna do anything. Turn this back down. We'll take another run at it. Turn these down again. Turn that up. Turn this up. I'm not hearing anything. Okay, it's not working, so I'm going to get an oscilloscope over here to take a look at the 555 timer, so be a minute or two. In the end, no scope needed, just a little thinking. As you may recall, I didn't put the DC power jack on
because I was just going to be using the battery. But you do need to install it or do something because it's in series with the battery. Since I'm not using it, I had to go around on the back here and on, let's see if I can zoom this in. Yep, and jerk the camera around, I'm sorry. If you look here at DC jack, I just jumped the S and the C. So with that in place, let's turn my volume up here on my little amp, and we turn the power on. And as you can hear, it's oscillating, and we can control, this is volume, so I'll turn that all the way up. This is frequency. Now when I move my hands in front of the photoresistors, that changes pitch. This one should change volume. Yep. I'm going to turn this light off. A little more controllable. And we can set the bass frequency here. Little vibrato. Turn it up a little bit. So that's it. It's an actual functional theremin. And the real only difference between this theremin and a capacitive one that uses the air gap, it's basically an air gap capacitor between you and the antenna, is this one you will have to have light to actually make it work, because if you're in a dark room, the photoresistors don't care if you're moving in front of them. So if you're going to use this on stage, I'm just kidding, but you might. You're going to use this on stage, you got to have a light source around it or else it's not going to work. So that's the way it all goes together. And it does work. And I hope you enjoyed the video.